Hi guys, my name is Alex and welcome to the video. Today we are going over which is better, being in a relationship or casual hookups. So better in terms of the quality of the sex, how pleasurable it is, and the frequency of the sex. How often can you have it? And I think these two are pretty fair metrics for measuring whether or not sex is good or not. But first, let us define what good sex is beyond just these two metrics of which we are measuring. So, good sex is sex that is, first of all, not selfish. It is a mutual thing. Second, it favors the psychological stimulation over the physical stimulation, focusing on things such as passion, engagement, immersion, emotional connection, and presence of mind, being in the moment. That is really what makes sex good and pleasurable. If there's no mental stimulation, then all that's happening is some stuff that feels good in your private parts, but you're not going to be quite into it, and then your brain is not going to interpret it as being as pleasurable as it could be. So, now that we've gotten the definitions or our metrics out of the way, which is better, sex in relationships or casual hookups and doing all the hookup culture type stuff? What is going to lead to better quality sex, and what is going to lead to a higher frequency of sexual encounters? So let's get into it. Let's answer the frequency question first, and we'll logic it out a little bit, do some common sense reasoning to figure this stuff out. So let us take casual sex first as an example. How frequently can you possibly have casual sex? So casual sex or hookups, these are one-off experiences, possibly two-off experiences. They're not going to last longer than maybe a month at maximum with the same partner. So every single time you're having to seek a new sexual partner, that means you gotta go on dates, you gotta meet them before you go on the date, but you gotta get to know each other, you have to talk to this person, you have to put in a lot of time investment into that, and you have to do this repeatedly over a long period of time in order to increase the frequency of the sex you are having. Now, let's look at sex in a relationship. In a relationship, yes, there is that time investment in the beginning where you are getting to know that person, but it is somewhat similar to the time investment that you have to do every single time when you meet someone new for casual sex. So it might be a little bit longer for the relationship, but I would say given a time frame of about a year or so, it is much shorter because you are only putting in that time investment up front before you have the sex for a shorter amount of time overall than when you are having to meet new people every single time and do the same routine every single time. So once you're in that relationship, however, after you've put in that initial time investment to get to know that person, the sex frequency is almost unlimited, especially if you guys move in with each other or have circumstances where you can see each other all the time. In the beginning, you guys can have sex multiple times a day, every single day, weekly, all this time, and a lot of it. You can just keep going at it for a lot. How many other ways can I say it? If we circle back then, which is better for frequency of sex? Which option is going to give us more sexual experiences? That is undoubtedly going to be the relationship route, because you have the initial time investment, but once you put that in, establish that relationship. And I want to say that this doesn't mean it has to be a romantic relationship. It can be a friends with benefits type thing, a sexual relationship only, but it is just with one person and not just kind of no strings attached, meeting strangers. So anyway, back to what I was saying, once you establish that relationship, you can have almost infinite amounts of sex. In the casual hookup culture, however, you have to meet new people every time. So there is that initial time investment every single time. And realistically, how many people are you going to meet weekly, daily, even monthly, yearly, that you can establish a sexual relationship with that person every single time? I know for me, it would be extremely exhausting to have to meet even one person a week, I think, and go through the routine and the dating and getting to know that person. To me, it is a lot less effort, actually, to establish a relationship with someone, a one-on-one relationship with that person, and keep it going for an extended period of time. And that, by our logic through this video, is going to lead to more sex, a higher frequency of sex. So, That's 1 point relationships, 0 point casual sex. Moving on to the quality of the sex. So as we have defined earlier in this video, the quality of the sex is dependent upon psychological factors more than physical factors. It is about losing yourself in that experience, immersion, emotional connection, all these things, all these factors that will bolster the physical stimulation and make it feel a whole lot better than it would be had it just been bumping and grinding with no sort of psychological context to it. So if we look at casual sex, these are sexual encounters in which we don't really have that much time to get to know the person before we are diving into the sexual experiences. And then once the sexual experiences are over, for the most part, where you don't see that person again, so there's no kind of improvement or feedback to be gained from that experience, except for whatever subtle body language cues you might have picked up, or whatever short amount of conversation you have had with that person before going into the sexual experience. Not a lot of people that I know that have casual sex and are invested in that hookup culture, not a lot of them really go over and debrief what was good or bad about the sexual experiences and get to know that their sexual partner even before the sex so that they know what to do during sex. And so you're kind of relying on then just luck or chance that you might do the right things that your partner just so happens to like without actually going off of anything concrete or evidence-based or anything that you've discussed. On top of that, you have factors such as insecurities, stresses, performance anxieties, all of these things that could cloud your head in a new sexual relationship the first time you're having sex with someone. These things are going to be in your head, and they are definitely going to be in your partner's head as well. And what these things are going to do is kind of block you off and prevent you from taking that sexual experience to the next level, enhancing it by being completely present and immersed in that experience. And that is something that is going to improve the quality of the sex a lot. The last thing I want to touch on in the hookup culture, the casual sex culture, is that oftentimes these sexual experiences are kind of selfish, because in the back of your head you know that you won't see this person again, most likely, if you are going into that sexual relationship knowing that. So that means you don't really have to be that generous during sex, and your partner is thinking the same thing. They're thinking, I am just doing this for my own needs, my own satisfaction, and that's basically it. I don't have to worry about this person because I'll never see them again. So that is casual sex. What about relationships? How is the sex there? So the first time you have sex, of course, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be just the same as most of your sexual encounters with the casual hookups, with the random no strings attached sex. The difference with relationships is that you have more room for improvement, more room for growth, more time for communication to get to know that person. What this time and communication does is eliminate those performance anxieties, those stressors, and those insecurities. And they allow you to be more comfortable with that person in the sexual experience. Comfort is extremely important in sex because sex puts you in a very vulnerable position. A position that you wouldn't want to just be in with any random person. It's going to make you feel insecure naturally. But if you get to know someone and you talk to them, that comfort level increases, so much so that this vulnerable sexual experience is no longer a thing that provokes anxiety or stress. It's just doing this thing with this person that you've connected with. And so if we eliminate those things, then we have more headspace to just have passionate, immersive, connected sex with that person. We will also be able to tailor our sexual experiences to our own desires and for our partner's desires, because since we have more time to communicate with that person, we can figure out exactly what they want and they can figure out exactly what we want and then do it. And then it's amazing, and you're going to have incredible sex that's custom tailored to you. What could be better than that, right? Finally, you're going to be more generous when you're having sex in a relationship because you know you're going to see that person again. You can't just selfishly bang away and expect no consequences to that. If you truly connected with that person like relationships do, then it's kind of your responsibility to be a little generous and not so selfish during sex. So the sex will be more of a mutual thing rather than two separate parties trying to get themselves off simultaneously and independently. So there you go. If you have followed my logic, then that means it's currently 2 to 0 relationships to casual sex in terms of quality and frequency. So if my calculations are correct, then that means the sex is better in relationships and we're going to have more of it in relationships. So in my opinion, these are what you should be looking for. You should be trying to get into one-on-one relationships with people if you want the highest quality of sex and at the highest frequency. Now I do want to say that casual sex and hookups, they're not bad. They don't make you a bad person. These things happen. Sometimes you have to try it just to figure these things out. But my point is that this casual sex and hookup culture, it's not sustainable for one, and it doesn't lead to good sexual experiences or even that many sexual experiences, no matter how godly you are at pickup or how alpha you are and the women are just coming at you from all directions. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you will use this information in your real life and go for sexual experiences that are more fulfilling, more pleasurable, and just better overall, and then you'll have more of it if you're in a relationship. So anyway, if you did like this video and you like the message, leave me a like. If you like this video as well, you can subscribe and get more of it and more videos with me. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.